Next in this segment from the Martinsburg Union Rescue Mission, Pastor Tim Guerino. Tim, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here. Glad to be here with Patrick Lewis, our volunteer media coordinator.
Patrick, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Have you all filled out your NCAA tournament brackets?
We're going to go by mascots like you were talking about earlier, right? Which mascot will win, and that's how we'll fill them out.
My former brother-in-law, my sister-in-law has since divorced 15 years ago or whatever, but he worked for an accounting firm where they had hundreds and hundreds of people, and he would send out these brackets every year where if you win, you could really win some serious money, right? I was never any threat to win that, despite the fact that I was the sports director at another radio station. My 9-year-old niece would routinely clobber me by picking the cuter mascot. And I'm not making this up. And then she would talk trash on me. Like, you're a sports director, right? And I would say, you've got a birthday coming up, right? Then she'd back down. She wasn't so tough once that birthday present was at risk, right? But, yeah, she just would trash me every single year by picking mascots. It's got to be more complex than that, doesn't it?
No.
I'm studying depth charts and points per game averages, and she's going, a Cardinal is better than whatever Quinnipiac's nickname is.
It's any given Sunday on steroids. I mean, it's just anybody can win at any time, except, unfortunately, for WVU this year.
You got to be able to play to win, right?
You have to play to win.
J.B. Mikowski will join us, the Attorney General, at 8:35, and we'll get into that then. Tim, let's talk about the mission and what's going on now and your volunteer program, too. Patrick, I asked you before, how many volunteers do you coordinate at the mission?
On any given day, we have between 10 and 15 in our various areas, from the kitchen to the front desk to the store. That's kind of what we average. We also have Haven House and Hope House, where we have the volunteers and mentors up there as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you get a volunteer, how long do you typically keep a volunteer?
Until they say, I've had enough. No, I say that half jokingly, but our volunteers, many of our front desk volunteers have been there for 3 or 4 years. Kitchen, same thing. They're regular every week, same day. I actually had one of our kitchen volunteers come up to me yesterday and wanted to add another day of the week to the schedule. So he's be coming in 4 days instead of 3 days now. So once you get in, you find out how much you enjoy it and enjoy interacting with the people, and they have a tendency to stay.
And Patrick's one of your stories, too, Tim.
Yeah, Patrick came up to our program. Great. Patrick's one of the many that came up to our program. Now he's on staff. Patrick was on staff just a little bit before I got there, and then I got there, and him and I took off together on a lot of stuff. But Patrick, share with them your story, how you got to the mission and what happened and where you're at now.
Yeah, in 2013, I made some idiotic life decisions, let's put it that way, and ended up in jail. I like to joke I was the only guilty person in jail, and when I got out, I just didn't have anywhere else to go. It wasn't a situation. My mom was in poor health at the time. My dad was her primary caregiver, so I knew I couldn't go back home. So I walked out of ERJ with what I was wearing in January. And we all know how great the weather is in January around here. And Dad said, well, I'm going to take you to the mission. And I was like, okay. And that was January 4th of 2014.
You were what age at that point?
I would have been, wow, you're making me do math in my head. It would have been 41.
41.
Yeah, 41.
How long were you in the ERJ?
I was only in the ERJ for 30 days. I was in Hagerstown for 60-some days, so it was a little over 90 days total. Okay. I had no idea what to expect when I walked in, obviously, and I got saved and accepted Christ while I was in jail. I was in jail for stupid things, but it was a self-harm issue as well. I was on self-harm watch. I'm saying that word because I don't want y'all to get dinged on, because I know they dinged the other word. And it was actually my second attempt at it. I'd been a depressive all my life, and I got to the mission, and I was like, well, this is it. This is it's either this or I'm going to do it again, type of situation, and just bought into the program at the time. It was a slightly different program at that time. And in 2017, I got hired on as what was called the personnel director at the time, dealing with the men. When Pastor Tim came, we shifted that position to be called the supervisor. and did that from the time Pastor Tim got there in 2019 up to December of this year, where I shifted over into the role of the media and volunteer coordinator. It's been a wild ride. In 2015, I got hit by a car walking up to my church. Was in the hospital for about a week with damage to that. Still have leg damage from it to this day. The person I was walking up with was from the mission, died instantly in the parking lot. It was at Eddie's Tire. As we were walking up to church. So it's been a wild and crazy ride so far there.
Let me just jump in here.
Sure.
And he's pretty humble, because when I met Patrick, I didn't know the whole story of Patrick's situation. I knew about and I'll use the word, I knew about the suicide stuff, but I didn't know about the car accidents. And what he's not telling you is as they were walking up to church that morning, just regular Sunday morning, walking up to church, the driver of this car, I guess, got distracted, looked down. His car turned, jumped the curb, and ran over these guys. Literally ran over them. And then didn't he back up or something?
Well, he came back to see what happened.
Yeah. And of course, the guy that was with Patrick was killed instantly. Patrick, still to this day, suffers damages to his legs. He was ran over like that. So, I mean, it was a very tragic situation. And the reason why I knew the second part was I think it was 2 years I was at the mission, and this guy walks in and he starts talking to me, and Patrick is standing at the front desk. So he stood there, and he kind of like stood there like staring, and I pick up on things. I'm very observant. And then the guy starts talking to me, and then the guy leaves, and I said, Patrick, do you know that guy? Who is it? He goes, well, that's the guy that ran over me. And I was like, oh, okay. And here's the phenomenal thing, because I don't know if I could have handled myself the way he did. This guy came in for help, and came in for help at the time, and Patrick actually helped him, took care of the situation that the guy was in need of. I don't know if I could have. I don't know if my personality and my background would have handled that as well as he did.
Based on the baseball stories I heard from you earlier, the answer is no.
I've grown a lot from that. But I just, it was a very humbling for me to see Patrick live out his faith, how he treated this person. Because, I mean, it has altered Patrick's life. It still alters his life in a lot of ways.
Did that person recognize you, Patrick?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's how I knew, because the guy kind of said something to me in reference to him, and I was like, okay. And that's why when the guy left, I was like, hey, what's going on here? What, you guys have some kind of connection? And because I thought it was more of a different kind of, like, they were angry at each other or something, you know, because a lot of guys come in and say things to us on a regular basis, and because they're angry at the world, so they come in and take it out on us. So I mean, because I thought maybe they had a little dust up earlier or something. He's like, no, that's the guy that ran over me, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, and the guy was very kind and everything. It's just you could tell when he was hesitant when he saw Patrick when he walked in. He was kind of like, Patrick, but it just to see how he treated the guy, treated him, took care of him, took care of the situation, just was amazing. He had such Christ-like attitude towards this guy. And again, I stood there in amazement, because I'm thinking, I don't know if I could have done that. But it just is an amazing situation. To hear that testimony, to see that in life, to see all that, because like you said, it's a life-changing situation when that happens. I mean, I know recently my daughter was in a major car accident back in October 27th, very tragic car accident where her fiance was killed, and she was in the hospital for a very long time. Joe Freddy is helping us out with that situation, and I know how it's altered her life, and has severe injuries and in rehab and all kinds of stuff. So I know, but I just can't imagine, being, and then still having, it's tough.
Sure.
He has a lot to share with that. It's come a long way. Patrick does all our video stuff, all our visual stuff. our website. He does a lot of stuff on there. Go ahead, tell him all the different.
You said
I didn't know you were done.
Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram are your preferred?
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We post everywhere we possibly can, Rumble and TikTok as well. But the ones we get the most traction from, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You can follow us across all the platforms. It's Martinsburg Union Rescue Mission, so it doesn't matter where you go. That's the username on all the platforms. And we try to do daily videos at least 3 or 4 times a week if we can't get them up daily. It's the easiest place to find out what we need, what our consistent needs are. We're going to have some Easter stuff starting soon because we're getting close. It's the end of April, but we're getting close to that. So look for those things. And then I also update the website. So that's another great tool to use. Our website is very transparent. We don't hide anything about our program. Everything you can need is on that website. Every form you need to sign in is right there. All the policies are right there. So, yeah.
Matt Miller.
What type of feedback have you gotten as you've consistently done more of those videos?
Oh, the videos are great. People love the videos. It's a great way to get to know not only our staff, because we do our staff a lot, but also the people in the program participants as well. And it's great. And people love hearing those stories of, here's why I came, here's how the mission helped me, here's where my future is. And that's kind of how we structure each of the video stories of, what was going on before, how has the mission helped you, what's your future look like, what's your future plans. And it helps people see where their donations are going. They have that visual impact of, I'm donating and here's how it's helping. Here's the value in my donation.
I'm sure it's different for each one of the guys that you ask, but do you generally get a feeling that most of them are like glad to share their story, that
Absolutely.
they're from where they've been to where they are now? Hey, I want to tell people.
Absolutely. And we're I don't want to use the word selective, but we know who to do a video with and who not to do a video with. We'll put it that way. Because we tend to gravitate doing the videos with people we know are going to be upbeat, energetic, and will tell their story, and not kind of clam up as soon as you put a camera in front of them. So,
and we're not afraid to tell a story of somebody that's still going through the struggle.
Absolutely.
We don't always have to tell a story of somebody who's been on the other side now. We actually like to tell the stories of those that are still struggling, so people see it's a journey. It's a journey, and getting to the other side is great, but the journey is really where people are learning stuff going through that journey, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, and videos as well that you'll do. I know you did one when we were in with FCA, but you'll also talk with other organizations in our community that are supporters of the rescue mission and help get word out about them as well.
Absolutely. We are always looking for people to talk to that align with, what our mission is, what our values are, things like that. We're always looking to do that. We spoke with you. We spoke with Kay from Horses with Hearts.
We need to get him in, and Robin.
I need to get a little taller camera, I think.
But he's done a lot with our folks with the Medicare and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I would love to come in and do anything with you guys.
Because we let you share, but it's about you. When you come in, you get to share your thing, and how much you help, because you help a lot of our folks. You've helped a lot of our folks, because that's something. Like you said, that's something you got to jump through those hoops. That whole Medicare, Medi-Cal, whatever it's called.
Anything we can, anything we can do to help, we try to help, man. Yeah. That's what you guys do is phenomenal. When I walk in there, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can sense what's going on.
I got a question for you, Tim, because the legislature is working on some legislation that would make it illegal, basically, to camp outside.
I knew that was coming.
Not other than like at a state park. And this is clearly aimed at trying to get some work done on these homeless encampments that are in pretty much every city in America right now. You've talked about these at length. I don't know how much the legislature will take this seriously in terms of getting it passed and the governor signing it, but at least there's some movement on something like this. And some people look at that from the outside and say, "Well, that's cruel. They're homeless. They need a place to sleep. This is just what they do." you've been inside these camps. You have a different story about this.
Yeah, and there's people out there that, and I've heard the arguments on both sides. We deal with the results of these camps. I've been in them. Patrick's been in with me. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. The drug use, the drinking, the sexual abuse, all kinds of stuff goes on. People are passed around the weak. It's not. And I tell people, I said it's worse than prison. They look at me and they go, "What do you mean?" I said, "In prison, there's guards and there's some accountability. In these camps, it's survival of the fittest. Whoever's the strongest runs the place. Okay, and they run it with an iron fist. Okay, it's like a gang type thing. Whoever's the strongest gets whatever when they want it." And we've dealt with people who came to us recently. A guy came to us, they beat him up so bad we had to take him to the hospital because there was a situation where there was a girl in the camp that invited him to come into a motel room with them, and they get showers. They go into motel rooms, they get showers for the day in the motel room. Somebody gives them money to get motel. And then he happened to go in and get a shower with her, come out. Well, that girl happened to be the so-called strongest. Let's just call he was the leader of the camp. Well, he didn't like it, so they visited him in the middle of the night while he was sleeping and literally beat the crap out of him, almost killed him. Of course, he came to us. We had to take him to the hospital. We had to do all kinds of stuff. This stuff we see all the time. We see where the girls are being sexually abused, the weaker guys are being sexually abused. We see it constantly, and it's just. It happens. A lot of these. Well, the one guy, he had his eye messed up, or he was beat up real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Telling a story.
Two black eyes. Guy rolled in. Two black eyes. I was like, "What on earth?" And he explained what happened. Yeah. And he left us, went back to the girl that he was with, and 2 days later, we got word he was dead.
Yeah. So and this kind of stuff happens, and it's just to the point where. That's called toxic charity. People feel guilty when they see somebody standing in a corner with a sign saying I'm home. I'm not going to say names of people, but we got this one guy who makes tons of money, who stands out there with his sign. He's in one of the camps, and he's in every meal. He's at the mission all the time, and he comes in and laughs because he just bought himself a new iPhone, brand new. I have like an iPhone 9. This guy has like a brand new iPhone, and he brags about the money that he has. This one girl that he has with him that he's constantly giving money to keep her on drugs. It's over and over again, and people give this guiltiness out of their guilt, and they'll say to me again and again, well, it's between them and God when I give them money. No, it's your money, and according to the Bible, you're steward with what you give. You're steward of the resources of how you handle things. So if you're giving something to someone, and that is not, that may not be like me saying, you're going to give me money for a box truck, and then I don't use that money for the box truck, okay? And I can say, well, that's between me and God. No, that's a misuse of resources, so
it's fraudulent.
Yeah, it's fraudulent. So it's the same thing. You're giving somebody saying they're homeless and hungry, but then they take the money and use it for drugs. Whoa, what's the difference?
I've stopped along and seen the people along the way, and I've said, great, let me get you some food.
Let's get you,
They don't want food.
No.
That's not what they want.
And that's my point.
I had a woman one time come to my office when I was on Raleigh Street, and I made her fill out. She said she needed food for her kids. I said, great, write down what they like to eat. And I went and bought the stuff. I said, meet me back here in an hour. I went and bought the stuff at the grocery. She never showed up. Yeah. I ended up dropping it at CCAP.
Yeah, I'm from California. I was out there, ran a rescue mission out there for 15 years. The reason why those homeless camps are so huge, and they've now had to clean up a lot of them, deaths, gang-related issues, drugs, all kinds of stuff going on in these camps out there, is because, again, there's that, well, we're going to put toilets for them, we're going to do this for them, we're going to do that for them. They don't clean anything, there's nothing done, it gets worse and worse and worse until then the government goes, okay, well, now we got to come in and clean it up, and they bulldoze it. It's survival of the fittest mentality.
What's the answer then?
Well, in many ways, I hate to say it, we don't have, and I know this is going to really shoot your stuff up on the Facebook. We don't have certain institutions like we used to have. A lot of these people have mental health issues. They have nowhere to go. We take a lot of them in at the mission. Matt will tell you. We take a lot of people in that nobody else wants. and we take them in. With that, though, we take on a lot of responsibility that, again, nobody wants, and we have to. And there's a lot we have to do, and we have to protect them. We have to do. There's all kinds of stuff we have to do, and we don't get any government funding. The sad thing is people say it's housing. We also work big on trying to unite people back with their families. A lot of these people are homeless. They'll say to me because of drugs, alcohol, this other stuff. Those are symptoms of being homeless. There's two main reasons why people are homeless. Two main reasons, and it goes way back.
30 seconds.
Okay, it's purpose and relationship. Okay, many of these people are homeless because they have no relationship with their families. It's broken. That bridge has been blown up. They can't go back. So we work with people building that bridge back with their families to go back with them and get a purpose. And if you, go to MartinsburgUnionRescueMission.com, hit that donate button today. We can use your finances.
Patrick, thanks for coming in. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Tim, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you.
And whenever you need a slot, let me know.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Tim Guerino, Patrick Lewis from the Rescue Mission.